Have you ever been hurt by someone you cared about, only to find yourself endlessly replaying the situation in your head, wondering why it happened? What if I told you that the secret to flipping the script isn't about them at all? It's all about you. He to hurt you. Maybe he lied, walked away, or made you feel like you weren't enough. And now every part of you wants to react. Text him, confront him, make him feel what you felt. But stop. That's not power. Real power is flipping the script without saying a single word. Silence is one of the most misunderstood power moves you'll ever make. When someone hurts you, especially someone you loved, trusted, or gave your heart to, your natural instinct is to react. You want to explain how they hurt you, why it mattered, and what they should have done differently. You want them to get it. But here's the truth. People who hurt you intentionally, people who play games with your emotions, are not moved by your explanations. They're not sitting there trying to understand your heart. They're watching how much access they still have to it. And when you react, when you beg, argue, or over-explain, you're giving them a front row seat to your pain. That's not closure. That's giving away your power. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's a conscious decision to pull your energy back, to protect your peace, and to stop participating in a dynamic that's already proven it's not safe for your heart. Saying nothing doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your healing than you do about making a point. It's choosing self-respect over self-sacrifice. It's refusing to waste breath on someone who already showed you who they are. Let me be clear, silence isn't about pretending nothing happened. It's not about bottling up your feelings or acting like you're unbothered. That's performance. Silence is real when it comes from a place of power, not passive aggression. It's you saying, I will not lower myself to match the chaos you brought into my life. It's giving yourself the gift of space to feel, to grieve, to get angry, to cry, and to rebuild without needing their validation or reaction. Think about it. When you stop talking, when you stop texting, when you stop explaining, what happens? You shift the focus. Suddenly, it's not about them anymore. It's about you. That silence forces them to face a new reality. They no longer have control over your emotion. And that shift, that's the real script flip. You're no longer giving them a starring role in your story. You're rewriting the narrative, and they're not part of the next chapter. Most people don't expect silence. They expect a reaction. They expect drama. They expect tears and fights and long messages. But when you give them none of that, it confuses them. It makes them question their control. It makes them reflect, maybe not right away, but eventually your silence becomes their mirror. And for some people, that reflection will be uncomfortable because it shows them exactly what they lost and exactly what they can't manipulate anymore. Now, here's the magic of it. While they're wondering what happened to the version of you that used to fight for them, cry for them, beg them, you're over here healing. You're regaining clarity. You're putting the pieces of your confidence back together. You're remembering who you were before they convinced you that you were too much, not enough, or both. And all of that happens in silence. Silence is where your reset begins. It's the boundary they can't cross, the space they can't invade, and the peace they can't steal. It's you turning inward and saying, I don't need closure from them. I need freedom from this pattern. You are not here to teach someone how to treat you after they've already hurt you. You're here to teach yourself that you don't need to stay in places where you have to beg to be respected. So when a man hurts you, remember this. You don't have to scream your worth. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away quietly. Your reaction is where all your power lives, not in what happened to you, not in what he said or did, but in how you choose to respond. That's the one thing you control. When someone hurts you, especially someone you trusted, it feels personal. It cuts deep. Your mind goes into overdrive trying to make sense of it, what went wrong, why it happened, what you could have done differently. And in that chaos, you feel pulled to react, to prove something, to demand answers, or to retaliate. But let me tell you something that most people don't understand until it's too late. Every time you react out of pain, you hand over the pen and let someone else write your story. Reacting emotionally, impulsively, or desperately after someone hurts you feels satisfying in the moment. It gives you something to do with the hurt. But long term, it keeps you tied to the very person who wounded you. Your reaction becomes a way for them to still access your energy, your thoughts, your heart. And guess what? If someone has already hurt you and shown you they don't value your heart, why give them more of it in your reaction? You're not obligated to match their disrespect with words, texts, or arguments. You're allowed to pause, to breathe, to ground yourself before responding, if you respond at all. This is where the shift happens. You realize your reaction isn't just about the moment. It's about your identity. Are you reacting from your wound or from your worth? Are you letting pain drive the narrative, or are you taking a step back and asking yourself, what kind of woman do I want to be in this story? That's where power lives, in restraint, in clarity, in maturity, not in trying to win the last word, but in choosing the higher road without even announcing that you're doing it. Here's the truth. Reacting emotionally often keeps you in the same cycle. They hurt you, you react, they know they still have access to your emotions, and the dance continues. But when you don't respond the way they expect, when you choose calm over chaos, silence over shouting, peace over pettiness, they feel it. They notice the shift. And it's not about revenge or making them feel bad. It's about breaking the pattern. It's about stepping out of the role you used to play, the one where you were always available to be hurt and then expected to explain why it wasn't okay. You get to take your power back by choosing a different kind of reaction, one that's rooted in self-respect. That means you don't chase people who leave, you don't fight for explanations you don't need, and you don't give people access to your energy just because they hurt you. Instead, you slow down, you check in with yourself, you give yourself the gift of distance, space, and self-reflection. You remind yourself that you're allowed to feel the pain without letting it control you. This is how you flip the script. Not by shouting, not by demanding attention, but by rising. Quietly, gracefully, deliberately. You let your growth speak for itself. You let your healing be the response. You don't need to prove your worth to someone who couldn't see it the first time. You prove it to you by refusing to let them pull you back into a place you've outgrown. That kind of reaction, that self-controlled, grounded, deeply rooted response isn't just powerful, it's transformational. Because the moment you realize you don't have to react emotionally to someone else's chaos, you free yourself from it completely. Flipping the script isn't about him, it's about you. It's about pulling the energy you've been giving away and bringing it back home where it belongs. When someone hurts you, especially someone you care deeply for, it's easy to get stuck in a cycle of obsessing over what they're thinking, what they're doing, and whether they're feeling the weight of what they did. You go from being centered to being completely focused on someone who didn't value you. And every time you replay that conversation, that betrayal, or that goodbye, you hand them your energy all over again. That's where you lose your power, when your attention is more on them than on you. But here's the shift. What if instead of asking, why did he do this? Or what is he thinking now? You asked, what do I need right now? That question flips everything. It centers the moment around your healing, your clarity, your next move. When you shift the energy back to you, you stop living in response to someone else's behavior and start responding to your own needs. You stop trying to be understood and start understanding yourself. And that's not selfish, it's survival. It's how you heal. It's how you grow. It's how you get your power back. You got to stop thinking the closure is out there. You got to stop thinking if he just called, just explained, just apologized, then everything would be okay. Because even if he did all of that, it wouldn't fix the deeper question inside of you. Why did I stay? Why did I ignore my gut? Why did I let it get this far? And those are questions only you can answer. That's the work. That's where your energy needs to go, not into analyzing him, but into understanding and rebuilding you. This is how you flip the script without saying a word. You choose to stop performing for people who couldn't handle your truth. You decide to no longer be available for cycles that drain you. You redirect all that energy, the texts you wanted to send, the things you wanted to scream, the tears you wanted to show, and you reinvest it into your growth. That's the plot twist he never saw coming, because he expected you to spiral, to chase, to plead, but you didn't. You got quiet. You turned inward. You started healing. And that silence, that focus, that's louder than any words you could have spoken. It's not about playing games. It's not about pretending you're fine when you're not. It's about getting real with yourself, taking accountability for your part, forgiving yourself for staying too long, and deciding you're not going to keep betraying yourself just to make someone else comfortable. That shift in focus is everything. It's how you stop making him the center of your story. It's how you stop letting pain define you. It's how you write a new chapter, one that's not about who hurt you, but about how you came back stronger, wiser, and more grounded than ever before. Energy doesn't lie. When you're stuck in bitterness, they can feel it. When you're still reacting to them, they know it. But when you've truly shifted the energy back to you, when you're focused, aligned, clear, they feel that too. That's when the confusion sets in. That's when the regret shows up. But by then, it's too late because you're no longer looking back. You're moving forward, not for revenge, not to prove anything, but because you finally realized the most powerful thing you can do is reclaim your energy and use it to build the life you deserve. No closure is closure. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth that frees you once you really let it sink in. When someone hurts you and then walks away, disappears, or gives you some vague excuse, your mind scrambles for answers. It becomes a loop. Why did he do that? What changed? Was it me? Did I mess up? You start replaying every conversation, overanalyzing every moment, trying to make sense of something that makes no sense. That mental loop is exhausting, and it's fueled by the belief that if you just had closure, if you just knew why, you could move on. But the truth is, needing closure from someone who already disrespected you is like asking a tornado to clean up the mess it made. You don't need their explanation. What you need is your own peace. We've been taught to believe that closure is this neat, packaged conversation where two people sit down, talk it through, and walk away with emotional clarity. But life rarely gives us that, especially not from people who lack the courage to love you right in the first place. The same person who ghosted you, cheated on you, manipulated you, or emotionally shut down is not suddenly going to become emotionally mature just because you want closure. They didn't honor you when they were with you. What makes you think they'll give you what you need now that they're gone? This is the hard pill. Sometimes the only closure you're going to get is accepting that you didn't get any. And that acceptance, that's where your power is. Closure is not a conversation. It's a decision. It's you deciding that you are done trying to figure out someone who never valued your effort in the first place. It's you choosing to stop rereading messages, replaying memories, and romanticizing a connection that couldn't even survive honesty. The closure is in understanding that their silence is a statement. The way they left is your answer. Their inconsistency, their avoidance, their inability to own their actions, that is the closure. It's not easy, but the more you cling to the idea that someone else has the final word on your healing, the longer you delay it. You don't need their words to validate your pain. Your experience is real. Your emotions are valid. What you felt was real. And just because someone wasn't capable of receiving or respecting your love doesn't mean your love was wrong. It just means they weren't equipped for it. So instead of chasing closure, start creating your own. Journal your truth. Speak your feelings out loud, even if no one's listening. Write a letter you'll never send. Mourn what you thought it was going to be. Feel it all, without judgment. Because real closure is an inside job. It's about you making peace with what happened, even if it never made sense. It's about you giving yourself permission to move forward without their participation. You don't need their apology. You don't need their confession. You don't need their clarity. You need you. You need your own decision that this situation no longer deserves your time, your thoughts, or your emotional access. And don't be surprised if the moment you stop seeking closure from them, the weight lifts. That's not a coincidence. That's the power of reclaiming your healing. The moment you decide that you don't need anything else from them to move forward is the moment you actually start moving forward. And yes, it will still hurt sometimes. The unanswered questions might still pop up, but you'll learn to say, I don't need to know why. I just need to know that I deserve better. And that knowing, that's the most freeing kind of closure there is. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they had it once. That's something most people struggle with after being hurt, especially by someone they loved. There's this belief that because someone was close to you before, they automatically deserve continued space in your life, or at the very least, an open door. But here's what you need to understand. Access to you is a privilege, not a permanent pass. It doesn't matter how long you were with someone, how deep the bond was, or how many memories were shared. If someone hurt you, disrespected you, or treated your heart like it was disposable, then it's not only okay, it's necessary to take that access back. Sometimes people think keeping the door cracked open makes them strong. They say things like, I'm the bigger person, or we can still be friends, or maybe he'll come around. But those statements often come from a place of fear, not strength, fear of being alone, fear of letting go of something that once felt good, fear that if you close the door, it means all of it was a waste. But keeping someone in your life who has already shown you they can't handle your worth isn't strength. It's self-betrayal. And every time you answer that text, take that call, or agree to catch up, you're signaling that even after all the pain, they still have access to your space. You've got to stop giving VIP treatment to people who didn't even buy a ticket to your value. Access means energy. It means time. It means emotional availability. And if someone has hurt you and hasn't shown real growth, remorse, or accountability, then continuing to allow access is just repeating the cycle. You can forgive someone without reopening the door. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means releasing the bitterness so you can heal, not inviting them back in so they can hurt you again. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries aren't about punishing the other person. They're about protecting your peace. They're about making a decision that your growth matters more than someone else's comfort. If someone has hurt you and now they're trying to check in or stay in touch, ask yourself, what do they actually want? Are they trying to make amends and take responsibility, or are they just trying to keep a piece of you in their pocket? Someone they can reach out to when they're bored, lonely, or looking for a hit of validation. Most of the time, it's the latter. And your job isn't to be available for that. Your job is to be so focused on your healing, your growth, and your peace that anything that pulls you back into old pain becomes a hard no. You don't owe anyone access to your heart, your time, or your life just because you once gave it freely. People will come back. Not always because they miss you, but because they miss the version of themselves that had easy access to you. And that's where you have to stay grounded. Remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself what you've learned. Remind yourself of the pain it took to get to this point. Don't let someone's moment of "I miss you" pull you back into a cycle of confusion and emotional chaos. Growth means making decisions that protect the person you're becoming, even if it disappoints the person who hurt you. You don't owe anyone a second chance to break your heart just so you can prove you're over it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all and keep the door closed. That's not bitterness. That's self-respect. That's healing. That's you recognizing that you're no longer that broken version of yourself that needed their approval or presence to feel worthy. You've grown, and your new level doesn't require old pain tagging along. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. It sounds simple, but it's the hardest one to truly cultivate. When someone hurts you, it often feels like a personal attack on your worth, your value, and your identity. It's easy to get lost in the question of why they did it, what you could have done differently, and whether there was something you missed along the way. But when you take a step back, you realize the only question that truly matters is, how are you responding to this pain? Your response determines whether you stay stuck in the past, forever haunted by what someone else did to you, or whether you take the power back and start using it to create a better future for yourself. The reality is, no one can ever hurt you as deeply as you can hurt yourself by staying in situations that drain you. The longer you linger in emotional turmoil, replaying every moment and revisiting old wounds, the more you give away your peace. It's like you're handing them a key to your emotional state and letting them unlock your heart whenever they want to. The most powerful decision you can make when someone hurts you is to stop giving them that power. You don't have to react in anger, sadness, or frustration. You don't have to chase after their validation or attempt to convince them of your worth. Instead, you need to take that energy and turn it inward. Turning inward doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It doesn't mean pretending you're fine when you're not. It means honoring your emotions, processing them, and using them as a catalyst for your own growth. When you choose to stop reacting to someone else's behavior and instead focus on your own healing, you begin to redefine what love looks like for you. Love isn't about convincing someone else to stay in your life or trying to prove your value. It's about recognizing your worth and treating yourself with the respect and care you deserve, regardless of how others have treated you. This is where self-love becomes transformative. When you love yourself enough to walk away from people who don't honor your heart, you free yourself to welcome in the kind of love that truly nourishes you. That's when you start to understand that you are the one responsible for setting the standard for how others treat you. If you let someone mistreat you, if you stay in toxic cycles, you're teaching yourself that your needs don't matter. But when you finally get to the point where you value your own peace more than their presence, that's when the real healing begins. Loving yourself means understanding that you are worthy of respect, kindness, and care, even when others fail to offer it. It means not relying on someone else's approval to feel good about who you are. It means not letting someone else's lack of emotional maturity define your self-worth. And here's the secret. When you stop depending on others for your sense of value, you start becoming a magnet for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. You stop attracting people who only take from you and begin to attract those who will give to you, who will honor your heart, your time, and your energy. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a conscious decision to put yourself first, to recognize that your emotional health matters, and to stop sacrificing it for people who don't deserve it. You can only control how you show up in the world. When someone hurts you, it's tempting to fall into the trap of feeling like their behavior somehow diminishes you. But the truth is, their actions only have power over you if you allow them to. The moment you realize that you are whole, you are enough, and you are deserving of love no matter what anyone else does, that's when your life begins to shift. You stop handing your energy to the past and start pouring it into your future. You stop reacting to old wounds and start building new ones that are healthier, stronger, and more aligned with the person you are becoming. This process is not about getting revenge, proving something, or making someone else regret their actions. It's about stepping into your own power. It's about taking responsibility for your healing and using it as fuel to create a life that reflects your worth. And when you fully understand that you are the most important person in your own life, you stop letting anyone who hurts you define your journey. You get to write your own story. And that story starts with the truth that you are enough. As we close today, remember this: you have the power to transform your pain into purpose. Every time someone hurts you, you have a choice. Will you react from your wounds, or will you respond from a place of wisdom, strength, and self-respect? By flipping the script, by refusing to give someone else the power to define your worth, you take control of your own narrative. You stop seeking closure from those who couldn't give it to you, and instead, you create your own. You choose to protect your peace, to reclaim your energy, and to set boundaries that honor your growth. Understand that the most powerful thing you can do is recognize your worth and refuse to settle for anything less than respect and love. You do not owe anyone access to your heart, your time, or your energy if they have shown you that they cannot value it. The relationship you have with yourself is the foundation of everything. When you love and respect yourself, you stop letting others dictate how you feel or what you deserve. You stop letting past wounds define your future, and you step into the life you were always meant to live. I want to leave you with this. Healing is a journey, and the first step is realizing that you are not defined by anyone else's actions, only by your response. Trust that every step you take toward reclaiming your peace, your power, and your worth is a step toward the life you deserve. Hold your head high, take care of your heart, and never forget that you are worthy of a love that honors, respects, and cherishes you. Keep moving forward, because your story is still being written, and it's going to be a beautiful one. Let us pray.